Hello, audio marks coming to you from the Sage-Owned Public Library. Welcome to the Marks for Life podcast with your hosts, Jimmy, CJ, Joe, and Jared. Woo! The four horsemen of podcasting. Four casuals turned marks wrestling fans who give you a direct line to all things in the squared circle. Enter the ring at your own risk. We pull no punches, we hit hard, and we will slam you all the info you need to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Let's hit it!
And I'm back. Welcome back to this week's edition of Marks for Life podcast. I am your co-host, Jimmy. Unfortunately, I'm not joined by CJ, Joe, or Jared because we couldn't meet up to do the podcast. So I'm doing a MiniCast. This week was crazy considering that here in America it's Thanksgiving and we were celebrating and we all had pretty good times, but we needed a break from each other. So I'm just doing a quick recap of this week, or this actually pretty amazing pay-per-view week that we just came out of, and I'm excited for what's coming forward. Unfortunately, I could not obtain the belt from the Jew World Order, the Big Fudge Joe, or the Star of the Star of David Jared. I could not take the belt away. I came out strong with all my predictions being correct for NXT TakeOver War Games 2. And let's actually just start with War Games. Holy crap, it was one of my favorite War Games of all time. Considering there's only been 2 War Games matches for NXT, that's saying a lot. But just at the event overall, it was great. I loved it. Gargano in Black was incredible. Velveteen Dream is my heart and soul and is my bae. I love everything he does, coming out with the black and white looking like Hulk Hogan-ish. Oh boy, it was great. I loved every moment of it. We're starting to see the formation of the 4 horsewomen of MMA with Baszler and the other 2. I'm not even going to try to say their names. And then we had War Games. War Games was starting to look and feel more like the actual War Games. I still don't understand why they need to run from the ramp all the way down to the cage instead of just having it 4 corners. But hey, it's WWE's 4 Games. It's not actually 4 War Games. So, go figure. But I got all those predictions correct. I came out Saturday last week, coming out super strong. And then, first match of Survivor Series, I lose it. I lose it all. No! Exactly, Daniel. I lose it. But the Survivor Series was okay. It wasn't, in my opinion, it's still not as great as War Games, but Survivor Series was really good. The team matches were kind of, silly. I think there was moments in those matches that were good. I think one of the most impressionable ones, for me at least, I can't speak for the other 2, was the rain of boos Nia Jax was getting. Man, she's got some heat, and I think she's rolling with it, and it's pretty good. I want to see where that goes. Then we have arguably the best women's match in the Survivor Series. Better than the main event. And the main event was good too, but it was way better than the main event. With Ronda and Charlotte with a DQ, and then proclaiming that this is not over, and it's, love it. Absolutely loved it. And then speaking of the main event, the right person won I think, to all 4 of our dismay, because we didn't want that really to happen, but we knew it was going to happen, with Brock beating Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan getting some pretty interesting moves in towards the, climax of that match, and it was really good. And that was the only good part, because, the rest of it was just, Brock Lesnar squashing, pretty much. But, yeah, that was the weekend. And then, so here's my confusion for the weekend. That kind of leads into, our Raw and SmackDown discussion. Though Raw wasn't bad, the storytelling that could have been told from Survivor Series going to Raw didn't happen. So, that Dean Ambrose kind of, ruining the match for Seth Rollins, that didn't happen. I don't understand why it happened, but it did. Then it continued on until Monday, and then that kind of... So that's what we're going for probably for until TLC, and possibly until Mania. I don't really know. Yeah. And then just more of the progression between Charlotte and, Ronda. Hopefully that match gets kicked off. And by God, Becky is still the most over person in this whole thing. Like, she wasn't even involved because she had to get pulled out because of an injury. And it really sucks that injury happened. But still, like, her presence was even felt throughout the entire event and even on SmackDown. And even on Twitter, she's just mastering Twitter beef against Ronda Rousey and just owning her left and right. Owning her so much that Chris Jericho got involved in it. And he's doing his own thing with that. And still being owned by Becky. It's just incredible. Incredible. They need to keep doing some more stuff like that because it just makes it more entertainment for us. And, yeah. I mean, SmackDown was an overall good show, so I hope we get to see more and more good things come. Hopefully more. I mean, we're in that last leg of, like, the bad time of being a wrestling fan until, WrestleMania season really kicks off after TLC, after the December pay-per-view. So, hopefully, it doesn't drag on and it just has the momentum and just keeps going. One last thing I want to mention before I kind of end this mini-cast, and it does involve Chris Jericho, surprisingly enough. Apparently, him, the Bucks, Cody Rhodes it's more inclined that they're starting their own wrestling company. Jim Ross is involved, and it's crazy to me that for some reason, somehow, some way, shape, and form, that there's going to be maybe actual competition for the first time in, I don't know, almost 20 years? About 20 years? I don't really know. But to me, that just it seems like a crazy notion that WWE would ever have any likeliness of, competition, period. But it's crazy. It's happening. And, just keep your eyes. 2019, like I said, I think after the All-In pay-per-view this past fall, was that All-In is just the beginning of the next generation of, the next era in the actual real world, not kayfabe professional wrestling, but in real professional wrestling. I think we're going to see a real change going into 2019, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. And yeah, that's the end of this minicast. Would like to hear some feedback from you guys if you're actually paid attention and actually listened to this. Go on, all of our comment pages, all of our review sites on all the podcasting hosting things. Go on YouTube, comment on, hopefully when this video gets made and posted there, tweet at us, send an email. We would love to hear you guys' feedback. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned to our podcast. Special shout out to the Sachem Public Library for the continued use of their equipment and space. Continue supporting us by rating and subscribing through Patreon, Audio Boom, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play Music, and Apple Podcasts at Marks for Life Podcast. And now, check out our YouTube channel, Marks for Life, for our podcast playlist and other content. Please follow us on our social media on Twitter at Marks for Life Pod, Instagram at Marks for Life Podcast, our Tumblr page, Marks for Life Podcast, and our Facebook page, Marks for Life Podcast. And email us at marksforlifepodcast@gmail.com for any questions, comments, or feedback. Until next time, Audio Marks.